Okay, just a quick catch up on the sump job. It's all on now, all tightened up. The ones that are the shorter bolts are this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. All the rest seem to be the same size. It's hard to tell with mine because I think all the bolts have been mixed up and it's got the different bolts in anyway, but all the rest seem to bottom out, and I did sort of dip a screwdriver down, measure the depth before I put the bolts in to make sure, you know, you can tell if they're bottoming out because they kind of stop before they sort of start to compress. As you can see, a bit of seal has oozed out. Bit of a strange one tightening these up, because you tighten them up. I sort of did it in sort of something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and diagonal, work my way across and round. And they sort of tighten up by hand quite tight, but then as you work your way around, you come back to the first one and it's loose again. Obviously, because I think once you start to put a bit of compression on the cork, it doesn't compress straight away, and then you tighten the rest up and it compresses it a bit more. And I gave up trying to do it with the torque wrench because I think it would just keep compressing the cork. So I kind of did them all with a ratchet by hand, as I would with normally the air-cooled sort of bottom sump studs, which I normally do by feel, sort of if I'm using a long extension and my ratchet, and just, you know, when it starts to sort of feel a bit of stress in my wrist, then it's about tight enough. I did them all like that, and then I've gone round with a sort of with a 10mm spanner with my hand right at the sort of end, and just sort of made them all so they all feel sort of, so you can still keep tightening it, but you've got to put a bit of force, you know. It's hard to say. I've just sort of gauged it. I mean, it may be I've done them a bit tighter than they should be, but maybe not. I think with it being cork, it'll sort of, people have talked about it when they do their gasket, that you do sort of the first torque and then you leave it a bit, because obviously the gasket slowly compresses, you know, gives up a bit and compresses, and then you come back to it and torque them again. So, you know, obviously if you just torque it all up and then leave it, and the gasket kind of compresses a bit more, then you're going to end up with it loose. So I've kind of kept working my way around until I felt that, not that they were bottoming out and they were going to snap the bolt or anything like that, but so they all felt about the same kind of resistance on the small ratchet first, and then well, obviously the back ones have to do with the spanner, and then I kind of made them all about the same with the spanner. I've kept going round and round a little bit each time, and now they're all pretty, you know, pretty taut. You could tighten them up more, but you've got to put a bit of force on the end of the spanner, which I think is probably about right. I mean, some people have said, oh, you just nip them all up, and then just give them a bit of a tweak with 2 fingers on your ratchet, and that's it. Which, yeah, I understand that, but I think if you did that, I think you would be going back and tightening them up again, because it's cork. Over the bit of time, it'll compress a bit, but because I've put seal around there, I don't see any problem. Put a bit of Loctite on all the ends of the screws, so that should be fine. Obviously I did remember to put the oil pickup, because on the first video you saw me do that, which would be a big mistake, wouldn't it? But put the oil pickup in, as that, like I said, showed on the last video, that all went in okay. So now the sump's on, so that's it for today. I'm going to leave that till tomorrow night after work. Then I shall flip it over, put a bit, normally have a block of wood under this end, and flip it over, and it just sits quite nicely. Then it's a case of sort of get the heads, just blow the heads out, make sure they're just bang on right. I'm going to clean all the studs up, because they've all gone a bit rusty since I've cleaned it all off. Clean all the studs up. I think the washers for the head, people have said, scuff one side and then put a bit of oil on the other side. So obviously the nut can spin, but the washer stays still, which kind of makes common sense. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow's video, probably. Getting them ready and getting, you know, I might not get them all torqued up yet. I'm still waiting for the bushing, as we said in the last video, for that, so I can't put that arm on. But I think, I get the impression when I was watching somebody else do it, you've got to sort of put the belt on before you put this swing arm on. It's because obviously the belt goes in between the arm, if I remember rightly. I think it does. Yeah, so I think the belt comes either side of it or something like that. So I'll probably just put that on loosely and try it and make sure I'm happy with it before I put any more on. Tension is ready with a pin. So yeah. The sump nut, I haven't used the new washer on the sump nut. I've just sort of took it off and cleaned up and put a bit of sealer on it, because after 500 miles, I'm going to service it again. I'm going to drain the oil, and I don't know as I'll drain the water. I probably won't drain the water, but I'm going to drain the oil out definitely and put fresh oil in it again. So I'm not worried about the sump at the moment, but as soon as it's flipped over, I'm probably going to fill it with oil. I don't know if I can with these. I don't quite know. I'm assuming the oil level will be below them. Worst scenario, I can put them pipes on, because I took it out with those pipes on. I can always put them pipes on and stick them upwards. I'd like to put oil in it before I do any more, you know, before I put it in, because then I'm going to whiz this round with a drill and see if I can get some oil around it. I'm not sure if I can put a meter on these sensors and check if it's up to pressure. I don't know as I would. I probably would get it up to pressure with a drill. I don't know as I would. I don't know if the engine needs to be turning as well to get it, ooze it round, but I think I'll definitely do this with a drill a bit, then check the oil, then keep doing it a few times and get the oil level bang on. When I put the filter on as well, obviously the filter goes in here. When I put the filter on, I'm going to fill the filter as well, which I don't always do, but some people do. I'm going to fill the filter because then that gives it a bit of a head start. It's not got to fill that. It's not got to fill the big filter before it gets the oil round. I think this little clip here, I think that's to clear something. I can't remember what it is. I don't know whether that's something goes underneath or a wire goes underneath. So I can't remember what it's for. Might be the, yeah, I can't remember what that's for, but that was already on there. So I just left it on there. But yeah, it seems to have gone on okay. Like you can see, the gasket's very slightly, you can see in some, it's not really distorted there because there's nothing underneath that bit, so it's bowed down a bit. But you can see it's compressed the gasket. But it's not bulging out anywhere or anything like that, so I think we'll be okay. Bit of a bad design really with a big cork gasket like that. You'd be better off, you know, with a paper gasket, because it's two really nice flat surfaces, and just sealer on both sides. I mean, most modern cars have rubber gaskets, don't they? But I've had them where I've cleaned everything up perfectly well and tightened them all up as you should do and torqued them up, and they still sort of seep a bit. So if there's a little bit of seepage at the end of the day, it's not, you know, it's just a little bit of dampness, which you sometimes get. I ain't bothered about that, as long as it's not piddling out. Because I think to take this off with the engine in, you've got to drop the steering rack off and drop the cradle off as well. I think that's cradle supporting between the suspension. So you can obviously take it off when the engine's in, but it's a lot easier to do it now, which is why I'm doing it now. If you enjoy the videos, if you could just give me a like, that helps me continue to make more, and subscribe if you want to see more. Like I say, I'll be doing videos all the way through. Next one will be flipping it over and getting it ready for the heads and cleaning the studs up and putting head gaskets on. I think the head gaskets only get, I've just got to check whether they've got an up or a down. I think they can only go on one side. I don't think you can get them on the wrong side or the wrong way up or whatever, but I've got to check that because I'm not 100% sure about that, whether they're symmetrical or not, or whether they are sided and they've got to go a certain way up. I'm not sure about that yet. I've ordered the tensioning tool, watched a few videos. There's a guy, something Todd I think, he does a lot of videos on his early 9 to 8 white one, which he's done everything on by the looks of it. Done virtually everything, which is a good reference because you can sort of look back at what he's done. He was showing how to do it with that tool and put the belt on, etc. So I figured, well, I may as well buy the tool, because I think after 1,000 miles or so, you're meant to check the tension on the belt again anyway. So no point borrowing one or whatever. I may as well just have the tool. And I think the problem is if you borrow one off somebody else, if the tool's been used a lot, you can lose a bit of, you know, if it's not been calibrated, if it's not brand new, potentially the spring can be a bit worn on it. If it's been used a lot, maybe not as, you know, might not be as accurate as a new one. So the one I got was from 911 Design. It was about 100 odd quid, but you know, it's something if I wanted to in the future. If I didn't need it again, I could sell it, but if I'm going to do the cam belt again, I'd probably need it again, so there's not much point really for that price. So yeah, that's it basically. So tomorrow should be a bit more of a flip over job. I'm not sure whether I can flip it over on my own. I might have to get someone to help me, or I might have to do it with my engine crane. I can't remember if I did. Yeah, I obviously did flip it over. No, I think I stood it up on its end to take the sump off before. I think that's how I did it, but I can probably flip it over. Get it flipped over and then we're sorted. Okay, I'll make another video soon.